Good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning. Welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. Make sure you give the video a big thumbs up. Desmond Donnelly, Baz, Frederick Old Castle Milk. He's coming in for Castle Milk this morning. And let me just wait till it all speeds up. And the adverts. Why does it YouTube sometimes is a pain. Why is it not showing on my screen yet? Good morning, Desmond. Let's skip. There we go. There we go. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. I can hear myself. Good morning, and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. It is obviously a big week. It's a massive week. Celtic do go to Hampden this week, and as expected, as always, there's absolutely tons of Celtic transfer speculation, and especially the week of a big game. It's always the same. It is always the same. Something that we have gotten used to over the years. Tam Mack is in house. It is something that we've got used to. Let me just turn that down. Getting feedback. It is always the case when we have a big week that we get transfer speculation. Transfer speculation, which is not really needed. But this morning's transfer speculation we'll talk about in a minute. We will talk about in a minute. Why is the YouTube stats playing up this morning? Don't tell me how many people's on, although the people are commenting. Morning, Baz, for the wet Birmingham. Yet again, I'm reading the article. Boom, pops up the video. it's it's just this. There's just constant speculation of Celtic players. But we're going to talk about the Green Brigade first of all. The Green Brigade, remember, put out a few weeks ago that on the 25th of May, everyone is going to meet. T in the two, Tim's in the park. Tim's in the park, and they want everyone to meet up and leave at 12:30 and wear your hoops. Wear the hoops to Hampden is what the North Coast put out yesterday. Wear the hoops to Hampden. They want it to look like what it did in Seville. And it's been a while since, I've got to admit, because the Green Brigade were probably one of the worst of this, not wearing the hoops over the years. They refused to wear the hoops. But I think the support needs to get back to that. There's that. Mosquito. Get killed later. Yeah, so it's been a while since we've had the full support wearing the green and white in mass. A lot of people wear it, and a lot of people don't like to wear it. But I think on a day like this weekend coming, I think wearing the hoops to Hampden and everyone walking to Hampden together would be absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. There's something wrong with the YouTube stats this morning. It's not telling me about how many viewers. It looks like it's going to rain in Blingery. Blingery? There's a wee blast from my past from Blingery. Let's get into the comment section before we talk about Daniel Kelly. And first up was Desmond Donnelly. He's the world tourer. He's now in Castlemilk. Tam Mack's in the house. Jerry Cassidy's in the house. Good morning for Aberdeen. Steve McDonald's in the house. Sean Short's in the house talking about he's just read the article and then pops up. Yeah, I was late with this video this morning, so I thought, do you know what? I'm not going to be able to edit the video in the time I edit it and record it and put it up. Just do it live. It's easier. Evan Sean says that. Duncan MacArthur says, morning, Baz. Evan Sean says, 2 days in a row. Last week you done it. Second... with the news. Anthony looks like it's raining in Ballingry. Well, my family comes from Ballingry, my dad's side. And hail from West Belfast, says Pete, the good side of the town. And Anthony Kircher says, correct, Baz, get the hoops on. And I think it is important. I think if every single, because a lot of people like to wear away tops, a lot of people like to wear different tops, and just plain Celtic tops just like this, but I think if every single supporter wears the hoops, it'll really make a statement to the spectacle that it will be because obviously they'll wear what they wear, and I think if we can make it as colourful as possible in the Celtic end and show what Celtic are all about, it's multicultural, it's a club open to all, and it is all bright and beautiful. It is all bright and beautiful rather than the dark doom and gloom from the other side of the city. Tim's coming in from Bells Hill. And Green Machine says, top of the morning. Danny Boy says, morning, Baz. Confidence is one thing, but I've only remember losing 3 cup finals on the trot, despite heavy favourites, Aberdeen, Feyenoord and Partick Thistle. Just saying, wow, that was back in the day. That was back in the day. It's a different team, though, Danny Boy. I think this is a different team. This team knows what it needs to do. And if this team turns up, and yes, it'll be a hard game. I'm not going to say it's going to be a walk in the park. It's not going to be like just walking up to the ground and just go, boom, there you go. It will be a hard game. But you've got the likes of Callum McGregor. Callum McGregor that knows how to play in these games. He's done it for years. And in the modern day football, having that experience in a player is valuable as anything. Having Joe Hart absolutely buzzing to have his last game at Celtic. And by all accounts, Jack Butland will be having his last game at Rangers. So the two of those will be players that will want to go out on a high. But I think the occasion will all look towards... I mean, I don't think... Are Celtic really favourites? Are they favourites? I've never said that they're favourites. I think that we can do it. I'm confident in our own team, but I've never said that we are favourites. I mean, people will look at the stats and all the rest of it and say, yeah, well, on paper, we're favourites. They'll look at it and say, we've been really close. I think when it comes to it, I think we, as a club, know how to get the job done. And Brendan Rodgers has said that, and he said, this is when the club comes alive. Tamak says, just read a piece on Twitter that the Huns are having 104 million loss since 2013. I've seen that fucking mosquito again. 104 loss since 20... Fuck's sake. How could they lose that again? And Cowdenbeath's in the house. So Blingery and Cowdenbeath is in the house this morning. Fantastic old parts of the good old Fife. Decimated. Cowdenbeath and Blingery especially. Completely decimated in the 1980s by Thatcher and all things Thatcherism with the closure of the mining pits in Fife. And those towns have really struggled to get back to what they were. But luckily enough, there's a lot of good people in those towns, and they are coming... Got you little... I've been trying to kill that mosquito since yesterday. Anyway, job done. You're not biting me in the night again. Right, yes, we've talked about the Green Brigade wanting everyone to wear the hoops. The big transfer talk of this morning is Daniel Kelly. Although Daniel Kelly and Rocco Vata are about to be given the best contract offers yet by Celtic, they haven't signed the new contracts. Daniel Kelly is a serious talent that wants to stay at Celtic. Let's not beat about the bush. He doesn't want to leave Celtic. He wants to stay at Celtic, and he knows that he's got a hard job in front of him to be first team ready. I have said previously that if he stays at Celtic and if he plays the way that he can play, he'll be a future Celtic captain. Now, it's all about the modern day era where players think they should be walking straight into the first team. If any of the two is going to leave, I think it'll be Rocco Vata. I think that he's a player that has had the opportunity to sign the contract. He didn't want to sign the contract, so he was left out the first team. Daniel Kelly made noises about signing the contract, didn't think that the first offer from Celtic was good enough, his agent, and rightly so, because I think Celtic always going in the cheap. And people will say, but they've not proved themselves, right? We get in players, youth players, you can't say prospect players, call them what you like, a similar sort of age, and we pay them 3 or 4 or 5 times more than what we pay our own Scottish players, and hence the reason that a lot of the younger Scottish talent leave. I think it's about time that there was a level playing field when it comes to wages and the youth that come into the team and the ones that come up through the system. I think we should respect the ones that come through the system, because let's face it, if you've been playing for Celtic since you were 8 or 9 year old, I think that it's shown your dedication to the team. And I think that Celtic sometimes take that for granted. They think that players will they'll just hang around and wait to get their chance on absolute buttons when they see players that leave the club and then go on from making £200 or £300 a week to making 4 or 5 grand a week, and just playing for an average team down south. So a lot of players just go, do you know what? I'd rather just go and make 4 or 5 grand a week. That's a massive amount of money at my age. I might not make it to the top in football, but I'll have a good financial career that they think. They look at it that way. They don't look at the longevity of the career. They just look at the instant, wow, 5 grand a week. That's fucking silly money. Do you know what I mean? Even 5 grand a month. Anyway, Vata should go. His face was Chapman on a Sunday. Yeah, I think so. Ali says, Morning Baz. Agreed, we need to look at our own first. Yes. Kevin Gallagher says, Morning Baz, for West Lothian, 2012-2013, when the Rangers died. The bookies say Celtic are favourites, say Grey Machine. I'd love nothing more in life if we could beat our own record of 7-1 over them. Well, that'll all come out in the wash, as they say. All come out in the wash. Correct, Babs. Since the pitch shop's been empty, yes, and I loved it, mate. Kevin, I loved it. I loved it. My family. Anyway, move on. I can remember them all fighting the police back in the day, fighting the police with the miners' strikes, and them all coming home covered in blood after getting battered about on the front lines, the front lines of the war against Thatcher's cops back in the early 80s. Fucking second one. Answer. On fire this morning. That's the 2 that's been in here. There we go. Johnny, they're dead. Oh. Right, and other Celtic news coming about. I think Daniel Kelly, although there has been speculation that even though he's got this improved Celtic offer, a contract offer on the table, Bayern Leverkusen are to make an approach. They are one of the clubs around Europe that are interested in taking Daniel Kelly. Daniel Kelly is a player that will go. If he leaves Celtic, he'll go to a big club. He's a bit like Matt O'Reilly. But let's get him up to that level first. I hope that the likes of Brendan will sit down with Daniel Kelly and he'll say, look at the way that Matt O'Reilly, for instance, has progressed over the last few years. You're 3 years behind him, but only 18-year-old. You're 3 or 4 years behind them. Can you imagine if you stay at Celtic for the next 3 and 4 years and progress like a player, you're going to then get sold for 25 million plus, and then you'll have your pick of the teams around Europe. Never mind going to a team in Europe just now and hoping that you make the grade at that club, and that there's other things to think about it as well. You'll miss your family. It's a country that you don't speak the language. There's all these other things that Celtic should be playing on the mind of. And then with the carrot of a reasonable contract for the player. And then tell him, look, and if I was Celtic, I'd be perfectly honest here. If I was Celtic, I would say, right, you'll get a performance-related contract. You'll get a standard contract, and then you get performance-related add-ons. And then if you achieve, say, 10 games, you get a bonus. If you get games in the cup, you get a bonus. And Celtic need to dangle the carrot a bit better from a business point of view. Make it. Don't say, look, you're going to get all this handed to you on a plate. Show them that there's a little bit of work ethic needed. And if that work ethic comes to fruition, a bit like what it has with Matt O'Reilly, you'll get the financial reward. It's as simple as that. But football is a business. It is a business. I've run businesses over the years, and I think that's the way. If that's the way the football's going, so be it. So be it. But I think that the younger players do need, and I hope that's one of the reasons that Celtic have brought in Darren O'Dea, is this pathway manager, so that he can sit down with the likes of Brendan, sit down with the young team coaches, and they can path out this pathway, and even the contract talk should come into that. I hope that comes into it, and the financial gain that they can have for staying at Celtic and achieving things. And then obviously when they get to the sort of the area of the pitch where Matt O'Reilly is, where he's dominating games and things, that's when you know that they've made it, and they should be financially rewarded for that. That's just the way I see it, and maybe they should run Celtic a bit more like that. They would keep a lot of the younger players. Anyway, Ali says, "One Baz agreed we need to look after our own." First, Mike Powers says, "Agree. I would rather take a chance and pay our own youth players rather than bringing in guys." I've been saying that for a while now. And I just think it is the way. Baz at Celtic better not go cheap with the signings just yet. No, I understand that we can't spend like the English, but we need to go up another level with players. I think the board will get hammered. Yes, exactly. Stuart Ramsey's into the house. He's a bit late, pushing down in the West Midlands. Richie Beck's in the house. Morning, Baz. And Sean Short says, all right, I'll go Stuart, as everyone does. YouTube stats are still playing up this morning. And I don't know why. Anyway, it doesn't tell me how many viewers. It tells me there's been 191 viewers on the back office, but it's not telling me how many people are actually watching at the moment. Anyway, never mind, we'll just get on with it. Right, other Celtic transfer news. Neil Lennon been talking about how he got his new job. Obviously, the Bayer Leverkusen Celtic linked left back bids farewell to his club. There's not really a lot of Celtic news. It's just all regurgitating. People are just, you can tell when it's that time of the week before the big game. People are running around trying to get headlines, and they're just regurgitating a lot of stuff that's been out before in the Celtic media world. And the mainstream media are doing absolutely nothing. So it's going to be a short one anyway, because it's usually only a 15-minute video at this time of the day, and boom, we have been going for around about 15 minutes. Can't wait for Sunday. Richard Smith says, good morning all, hope you have a wonderful Wednesday. Tamak says, anyone here or read those rumours about Motherwell goalkeeper going to Rangers? Yes, I've heard that, and good luck to him. Good luck to him. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I says, Jack Butland will be saying goodbye to Rangers. He will want to go out on a high, and he'll want to win the double for Rangers. And the same with their own goalkeeper. Their own goalkeeper, Joe Hart. He's finishing off his career, but he's had a little bit of a better career than Jack Butland. Let's face it. He's got 75 England caps. And I'm going to keep ramming that home, because I never thought, for one, when you look at the old Rangers and the amount of England players that they had, now that comes with a caveat. You have to remember that the reason that the old Rangers had so many, and a lot of people forget about this, they think that Rangers were this mighty club that everyone wanted to come to. Well, it's wrong, it's lies, and it's the way that the Scottish media would portray it. What actually happened was all the English teams were banned from Europe at the time, so the English players wanted to play in European football, so that they were okay for the Euros and the World Cup and things like that. So they came to Rangers. Simple as that. They came to Rangers because Rangers offered them a pathway to play European football at the time, because all the English teams were banned because their fans were hooligans. In 1988, in Germany, and this year, again, the Euros is in Germany. Hold my pint, lads. It's going to be something else to watch, because I think there'll be a recurrence of what happened in Germany in 1988. Anyway, and you'll get a lot of them trying to head into Spain before they head home, because the police will be standing waiting on them back home. But anyway, that's all to come. Green Machine says, usually the Scottish mainstream media have had a couple of players out before big games. It's always the same. Timothy Baird says, morning Baz, hail to yourself and fellow Tims. P.S. I used to sit in 405. Oh, there's a famous Glaswegian YouTuber just messaged me. YouTube's weird. Yeah, I know that, mate. YouTube's all funny this morning. This guy has around about 63,000 subscribers. Fantastic guy. Thomas Rivera's morning. Hail yourself, P.S. I used to sit in 405 with the Joseph Rafferty boys. Well, there you go. Hope Chick and Joe are doing well. I've never seen Chick or Joe for 4 years now since I moved away. But they will be doing fine. But stalwarts of the bus, running the bus as financially astute as they do. It's one of the most financially astute run buses in the land. And if you want to talk about that off air, I'll tell you exactly how to run a Celtic bus that makes money and gives a lot of money to charity. Anyway, on that note, it is done and dusted for this morning. The big headline this morning is Green Brigade issue where the hoops to Hampden battle cry. The march leaves Glasgow Green at 12:30 p.m. on the Saturday, and they're hoping that tens of thousands of Celtic fans will join them. And they're calling it Tim's in the Park. Tim's in the Park too, and you want to wear your hoops to Hampden to make it a bit like Seville in 2003. They want to recreate Seville and have as many people in the hoops as possible, which will be good because it hasn't really happened for a while. Celtic Park used to be like that years ago. The big headline this morning is Daniel Kelly has been linked with Bayer Leverkusen. Invincible Bayer Leverkusen, it says, but sources in Germany have made it clear that the 18-year-old is considered a serious talent for that age group. I have said that he should stay at Celtic and he should progress. He's 4 years behind Matt O'Reilly at the moment. Could you imagine what Daniel Kelly will be like in 4 years' time? If he keeps on progressing the way he's going, he'll be a far better player than Matt O'Reilly. Mark my word for it. And on that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans all around the world. See you in the next one.